Oh, I feel hopeless. Movies have me feeling hopeless. If only I had someone, a guardian angel, to defend cinema, to tell me how to save it. If only there was someone who wasn't wearing a Boston Red Sox hat. Isabel, it's been a while. Welcome to this episode of Zack and Isabel Save Cinema.
What is it now? Film and television?
Zack on film and television.
Your film and television boyfriend?
I'm still the cult boyfriend or whatever.
This is like when they changed the football team name to the Washington Football Team. You don't never.
No, go on. This is riveting. Here's my thing. I love Isabel to death. I will say it, I don't care. She's my favorite collaborator. I think that we click, we talk about awesome stuff, and she is able to get to my perspective and like understand what I'm saying really well. And then of course she's like way smarter and went to school actually for film, so like knows a lot of cool stuff. But why I love her the most is I've been a little pessimistic, especially in the past. Like I think I've said that film is harmful for you multiple times.
Yeah,
I think I've said many a terrible thing about movies while loving them.
What was that whole arc you had? I'm gonna blame the movies arc. I think that was your 4th story arc on your channel.
It was a decent arc, to be fair.
Yeah, your 4th character arc.
It got people interested. Let's just call that the Your Cult Boyfriend arc. I want to come back and like rebuild the audience of film. I want to be what you are, though. Like, you've never wavered. You are the most loyal lover that cinema has ever known. Like, every time something negative comes to cinema as a whole, you have like 5,000 different reasons why cinema isn't dead, why cinema is still beautiful, and why we still don't even know what cinema actually is or can do. So I wanted to have you on here. Yeah. So I recently put up a video. You know, I don't want to be like I'm not.
I need to clarify for anyone watching. I have no idea what this video is going to consist of. I straight the fuck up have no clue what I'm being asked to talk about.
That's another reason why I love Isabel. This part is twofold. The fact that she never asks what we're doing.
I literally just, he's saying, will you come on? Like, sure, fuck, man. Let's go.
Like, she asked what we were doing right when I was pressing record, so it was wonderful. And the second reason is that what you see here, 90% of our interactions you have seen. Like, we have the most cinematic friendship. Like, we have the most actual filmic friendship. Like, 10% is like in the waiting room before I press record. Like, it's all here.
I would say less than a few hours of the entire time we've ever spent communicating with each other has not been recorded.
Yeah, 90% of all of our interactions have been recorded. Like, this is how we catch up, and we catch up through analyzing film or roasting filmmakers. This is how we catch up. And I feel like Isabel's one of my closest friends, in spite of the fact that we literally, you've seen our interactions, all of them, which that makes me think cinema is beautiful. And maybe you're right. We don't even know what cinema is, because what is that? This is cinematic.
This is cinema. What we're doing is cinema.
So I don't know. I wanted to talk to someone about
there's literally a video record of our entire friendship.
And that's beautiful. but is it beautiful that there's like a video record of like every kid that any millennials ever given birth to? You know, like, is that beautiful? Yeah. I don't know. Like, so part of my arc also is that our lives are cinema. And that's partially why I blame the movies for not living up to certain cinematic expectations. But in other areas, like, it does, obviously, or else we wouldn't do it so much. Sure. Is this like part of our? Do you think that our lives are cinema, and do you think it's always been that way, or if it's a new development?
Like us specifically,
like as individuals. I mean, like society.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, certainly to some extent. I'd have to think about that one, but I mean, like, I feel like it's so, I don't know how to put it, like, comorbid with the past, like, what, 130 years, 140 years. Like, there's kind of a entanglement of everything with cinema. I think it's certainly hard to escape. Is that what you're getting at?
Kind of. Well, you're making me want to go to other places as well. Like, why do you think we loved cinema so much beyond the obvious of like I can see a person move in front of me.
Yeah,
Like,
moving images.
like even if in my opinion cinema might be dying, why do you think it reigned for so long?
Um, God, I cannot for the fucking life of me forget who said this, but I think someone at some point, I think a filmmaker said that the first movies were dreams and shadows on the wall by fire. So there's kind of like, and also I love movies that kind of get into how other older art forms kind of embody the principles of what became movie. There's a great like Jerome Hyler movie about stained glass art in churches, and how when you like get into how they're designed, it's not entirely far off from like how one would design or plan a film. And so I feel like it's kind of like an actualization of just this desire to see moving pictures, and like how like so much of our mythology and history revolves around like images of movement and action and things
Right.
like that. It's kind of like some kind of like fulfillment of that I think we can't really shake. So I'm not sure how to say it's like dying or not. I think at one point in time I thought it was dying, and I feel that less now.
I feel like when I say dying, it's not like because I think the quality is so much worse or the output is like less
No, I think I know what
engaging.
you're getting at.
My what I think is most interesting or important about any form of art is the audience, and maybe like the way that audience like kind of mimics or like mimics the mimicry that they're watching in the screen, right? And they bring it out into their own lives. Like Hollywood is partially to blame for killing so many regional accents because everyone started mimicking James Cagney and
Yeah,
Warren Bacall.
exactly.
But
Exactly.
and maybe we've always done that to an extent. Like we would look at paintings during the Renaissance and kind of keep that in our minds and like keep it as an ideal of beauty or as some wish fulfillment thing we'd want to do. It's just that I guess the audience now, I don't see too much if our lives are movies, or I'm going to blame the movies, I don't know what we're going to blame them for anymore, because I don't really see the audience really taking to heart what they're seeing on the screen. I see them doing that with other media.
No, I agree. I mean, I think like it's never been like less of like, at least in my lifetime, like less of
Yeah.
like a cultural force. It kind of feels like it's become like everyone's kind of just, clocking in, same as always, like going to the office. There's kind of this dryness, even to like when there's like movies coming out that I like, it kind of feels like there's this kind of insignificance to it right now, I
Right.
guess I would describe it, at least like here in America, because like I still think there's directors here and elsewhere that are doing like interesting things, but like,
But if they don't have like the audience that they deserve, then like
yeah, and even like the stuff that like I mean, I'm the last person that gives a shit about like the Academy Awards and shit like that,
yeah,
but
same.
I do think there is like some kind of like litmus test there for like the pulse right now.
Yes.
Like it says a lot about what 2003 was like, that's the year Return of the King one, stuff like
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings was fucking huge. And
The Oscars are
I
out of touch
recently
entirely, I think, with the
I
normal
watched
person.
Anora recently. I fucking hated it, but
Okay. I don't like
that's
Sean Baker, but I love Mikey Madison. So
no, she's great in it. She's fucking great in it. I don't know. It just kind of like when I watched it, everything about the way it was directed, and even like subject matter and the way it told its story, reminded me of like other movies that had come out in the last 15 years, to such an extent that it's just kind of like I feel like it's all the same almost, kind
yeah,
of like I couldn't tell you the difference between this and like something by like the Softies. and
it looked
and
like a Harmony Korine movie.
yeah, it's like it is like in A24 movie style, and it's just kind
Yeah,
of
okay.
like you know what I mean, like that kind of like format and style that I feel like is kind of like, I don't know, it's just getting harder and harder for me to tell the difference between individual filmmakers, and not only that, but even just between like AAA Hollywood, Dune 2 type stuff and stuff that
Right.
is supposedly like
It,
independent. And it's just like these lines are blurring more and more
Yeah, it used to be like there was a lot of audiences for a lot of different types of pictures, you know, like little pocket
Yeah.
audiences, then you get the big hits that would have crossover. Now it's like there's two audiences. There's Marvel and A24. So
Yeah,
that
it's like there was a point in time where I could go to the theater and it's like if I'm like one of those people that like goes to see like The Hobbit 2 or whatever, that's there. And if I go to see something like a fucking Greta Gerwig like mumblecore comedy, like those exist, you know? And it's like I feel like those things are becoming less distinct from each other, like the extremes. It's all kind
all
of
these
like
references are making me remember that maybe film is actually dying. Because like now I know Greta Gerwig.
well,
Like,
no,
Greta
let me
Gerwig's
tell you
busy
now why
doing a
not.
Narnia movie for fucking Netflix. You're doing 8 Narnias
This is
for
what I
Netflix.
mean. This is what I fucking mean. Or like, movies where like famous celebrities are like Hollywood actors are doing like these lower budget movies where they just hang out with like real people who are like maybe like actually poor or actually live in certain places, and it's like he didn't actually do this, but it's like that's fucking Tom Cruise, you know, hanging out, you know, it's like it's fucking weird. There's like this uncanniness to it. But no, film isn't dying though.
Go twofold. Tell me what film means to you personally and what you think film means culturally right now.
I can't answer the first one. I don't fucking know.
You love film more than anyone I
It's the
know.
art that makes the most sense to my brain, and
Parse that. Why? Why does it make the most sense?
I don't know. I mean,
As I'm
like
with you, I agree.
I think the malleability of it all. I like the different ways it can like persist. I also there's I think I mean you know a lot of my favorite directors and a lot of them are guys that's like they didn't have a lot of freedom or like ability to actualize like their artistic goals, but there's like something there, and I feel like that's kind of like film itself because it's so entangled with like industry and you know capitalism and shit like that. It's just like so entangled with it, but it's like there's something there, and it's just kind of like how do you navigate like the ways in which this like art form has been like fundamentally kind of corrupted.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean like
amazing. Like film is probably the most corrupted by corporate bureaucracy, like more than any other form of popular art.
exactly. And I think there's something about the way though that it's like a fucking like I don't know, like a fucking itch you can't scratch. It just refuses to fucking die. Like it just
Yeah.
like keeps surviving in different alternative forms. You know,
Then it gets
people
more
stop going to
complicated when you're like Vincent Minnelli made amazing studio movies. Like studios have put out
exactly.
great art.
My favorite is Toby Hooper, who was very similar, I think, in that way to Manelli. Like he was a guy that was like on the bottom rung, and there's still something there.
And what
And
do
I
you think
love
film
Manelli.
Minnelli's An American in Paris is one of my favorite
I've
movies
described
ever.
Poltergeist as Hooper's Manelli film.
I
Um,
gotta I gotta rewatch it. I remember not liking it very much, but
it's okay.
I was really comfortable blaming it on Steven Spielberg until you were like forcing me not to. But
It's
what do you think film means culturally
culturally. How
now
do I
today?
word it today? No, yeah.
Like you brought up looking at the Academy Awards to get a pulse. What's the pulse?
Everything is becoming. I don't know. I feel like such a like asshole you hate at your college campus, like smoking weed right now. But like, it does feel like a lot of it's like just becoming increasingly homogenized and like
Mhm.
made more predictable and streamlined. Like, I
Is
mean,
that film's fault or is that like culture's
no,
fault?
I don't think it was ever film's
Do you think
fault.
it's culture's fault? Do you think that culture is
Yeah,
becoming more homogenized?
like I don't. I think so, just on
Yeah,
average.
probably.
Or there's it's
It'd
like
be hard not to with the internet. It'd be hard not to.
anything that is like against like any awful things happening right now are like effort. Like there's always kind of like an effort to reframe it so it does become you know acceptable within, and that's maybe my French bullshit talking, but
It's fine.
I mean, like I saw like, and I like this movie actually. I saw one battle after another, and then there's still like this weirdness about like the fact that and I have like an iffy relationship to PTA. I kind of don't like
Well,
him, but kind of
I
do.
like him the way any 16-year-old likes their vinyl record of Black Sabbath.
Yeah. Hey, fuck off, Black Sabbath fucks. But
But if you
I
didn't get into him when you were 16, you'll never get into it. If you didn't watch Boogie Nights when you were 16, you'll never think PTA is
yeah.
good.
But like there's like that whole thing about how like it's a movie about like a far left radicals who do like domestic terrorism.
Oh,
It's who
is that
actually
why all the grifters online are calling it a woke wet dream right now?
Yeah, because it's based on Vineland.
Oh,
It's
okay.
based on Vineland, which is about like hippies and counterculture figures from the 60s, now like middle aged in the 80s when the war on drugs starts. Um, and for this, he kind of transplanted it to today. So instead, it's about like guys who like in the 2000s and 2010s were like breaking immigrants out of detention centers and like bombing banks that were like funding horrible shit. And now years later, it's like the 2025, and they're all just like in hiding and like stoned and depressed and like pessimistic. And it's like it's a movie about like revolutionaries and like radicals, and like they get a lot into like immigration and people who like help immigrants like hide from ICE and shit. And these are all like plot points, but then at the same time, like to make the movie, they were like tagging like homeless camps and shit like that, and like invading those spaces and filming on them. And it's just like there's something about like that I find kind of like, and maybe this is just me being an asshole, but I don't know, there's something that's like fundamentally to me kind of perverted about like Leonardo DiCaprio, the biggest rich guy of all time, like putting on the costume of this world that he has, like that is like completely made
Well,
artificial and kind of, I don't know, there's something like that makes me feel cynical in
that
that.
reminds me of that Godard quote about Hollywood Holocaust films, that we have to remember there's a craft service table right there, and they're all eating hot dogs in
Exactly.
between, like the Jews dying.
That's the I think he was pulling off of a Rivette essay on objection, which is gets a lot into this tracking shot, the famous capo tracking shot, where it's like a Holocaust movie, and there's a moment where a woman gets shot at the fence, I think, and then it does this really stylish like zoom up to her dead hand on the fence, and Rivette basically writes things saying like, "Is this the most perverted thing I've ever seen? Like, why
But
does
I
this?"
feel like that's so, that
And
idea isn't like new within cinema. That's
it's
always been an
not.
exploitative thing.
I just feel like it's more like salient to me right now. There's something about like every time I go to the movies, I feel like cynical, and it's like I'm not even
Yeah.
trying to. Like I'm trying to like enjoy things. I just feel cynical when I go, but and maybe that's just for me an indication that it's like the because there, like you said like Manelli and shit like that. Like there was a period, especially in like the 30s and 40s, but even up to like the 70s and 80s, like where even 90s, where like being like a workhorse, being like someone on the inside still had capacity for like artistic expression. And
Yeah.
like, I don't know, to me, it just feels like that's becoming less and less true. And I don't know if that's emblematic of like film losing its possibility as like a cultural force, or its potential, I should say, but maybe more just like film as an industry losing its capacity to be a cultural force. And maybe there's like other forms, and I don't know what that looks like, because we can debate what qualifies as film if we take the basic definition of moving images, because then we could say like, okay, video games, TV,
But
home
I don't
movies,
I don't like doing that.
TikToks.
I don't like
But
doing that at all.
no, but I think it's worth considering at least like the relationship those things have to film, as far as like they are forms of moving images that people consume, and maybe they're consuming some more than others
But
now.
I do think audiences are reacting this in distinct ways. Like a video game audience is quite different from a cinephile
Sure,
one.
sure. But you can see that people gravitate now more and
Yeah.
more to those forms of.
Yeah, and I miss the days where the cinephiles were the dominant force of culture.
And this is why I'm
Sorry,
like,
gamers in the audience, but this culture is fucking
oh
cancer.
no, like video games. I say this as someone with like a history of gaming.
I say this as
Are
someone who likes
fucking
every single
evil.
post that Hideo Kojima makes.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think I like Metal Gear Solid 4 more than most movies that exist. And
yeah,
I
it's great. It's
that shit
great.
is
Fucking
evil.
genius. Fucking
That shit is
genius.
video games
It's
are
just
fucking
the
evil.
culture around it, like the audience response to it, is one of the reasons I'm not like a gamer and would never analyze a game.
Yeah, no, it's fucking heinous. And
And
I
that's
mean,
why I
like,
think that like
I'm
film is worth saving at the end of the day, because that's like the biggest question. If it's dying, if it's not, whatever, is it worth being alive? And I think not only is it worth being alive, it should be the juggernaut that it used to be. But if that means like revitalizing the corporate industry, like is that something that we would want to do?
I don't I feel like this, and I annoy people with this all the time. This is some of my hippie cinephile bullshit that I'm just kind of like I still always like talk about dreaming of like a point where like movies are more like easily, it's easier to make them and access. It's less of like a film industry and more like other art forms, like say, I don't know, writing a novel. You just kind of like do it yourself and put it out there, and like maybe people pick it up and maybe they don't. And I don't know, that kind, like something like that for film, because I feel like it's literally people can't really, anyone can like make an attempt to write a book, but there's like this attitude that like the financial barrier, like that films worth watching have to be above a certain like funding
Hmm.
threshold to be like valuable as art. And I'm just kind of like I wish that wasn't the case, which isn't me
Me too.
saying like we can't have like fucking Dune 2 exist should we choose, but I mean like you're allowed to like Harry Potter is on the shelf right next to like people who are getting published the first time because it's all alphabetical anyway. It's like
Yeah.
shit like that. It interests me, and I just kind of like long for that kind of like more personal way of doing things. And I don't know what that looks like because it's hard to make a movie. You need it. There's a lot of like laws that make it hard to do it without money. But it's like I kind of dream of a way to do it without money. Is kind of like my idea of how it would live, but that's also very utopian of me.
Yeah,
I,
well, I have like contradicting thoughts, and they're obviously contradicting. I contradict myself a lot in videos when it comes
Me
to,
too.
like, I love the idea that everyone has access to be a filmmaker. Like, I love that idea. I love that everybody can be an artist. I love that the barriers, the industry has been broken. But the contradictory part of me is like, well, look, I'm surrounded by posters of corporate products.
For
Like I
sure.
actually love corporate made movies.
Yeah, it's still consumption of media. You
It's
know.
still consumption of media. I mean, but at the same time, like you said, it takes one person to write a novel. Whereas with a film, I do subscribe to auteur theory. But if we're talking about Buffy or fucking I Know What You Did Last Summer,
Yeah.
I don't mind the idea of films being made by committee. I really don't, especially if there's like a
Yeah.
lot of decent thoughts, a lot of decent talent within the room. Film is probably the most collaborative process ever. We just put so
Yeah.
much credit on the director for organizing that group of
Oh
particular
yeah.
talent.
And I'm always for like I love doing like alternative like takes on like who is actually behind certain things. As someone who defends that Hooper directed
Yeah.
Poltergeist, there's ones where I'm like, like shit like well, like Roger Corman, like how much of those movies can we say really just belong to him and stuff like that. And interests me, it entices me, or even like stuff like that has like a certain like mold or
Yeah.
just like something that's born of a culture like canon films. There's a certain type of canon film that just results of like
So
the environment created by Golan Globus, and so it's like
Canon's awesome. I miss when trauma was an actual presence. You know what I mean?
this is the other thing is like there's no, like it's hard to find trash. I don't know.
Yes. Yes.
Actually, I mean, like the other day, literally, not last night. The night I saw Swans last night. The night before last, I watched fucking The Strangers Chapter One with the chick who plays Cheryl Blossom on Riverdale.
Oh.
Everyone told me that movie was bad. I had a lovely time. That was probably the most like sincere joy I've had watching something that came out this year. And like even uh last year, well, it came out last year, but last year I loved like Jean-Claude Serra Carry On, which
Okay.
was a Netflix Christmas action thriller. So it's about as like work for hire as it gets. And I watched that, I was like, I have actual like
Yeah.
thoughts about this. Like this is
Yeah.
provoking reactions in me that I want to talk
So
about like the way it deals with like like right wing,
at the
hive
end of the
mind.
day, I don't think that film needs to be saved by a radical. I think it actually does. I think that we will, if we want film to be relevant, then sadly, like Warner Brothers and Netflix and Disney will have to be relevant again.
I really think it comes down to just make cheaper, quicker
Right.
media, because
Well,
like,
that's
and that
like,
sounds crazy, but like it's something we don't really do anymore. Like
no, and it's
everything.
definitely not happening. I just saw a report that like Euphoria, Zendaya is getting $1 million an episode on top of the millions and millions
And
each
she's
episode
already like what,
costs.
like she's like my close to my age, I think, or around my
Yeah.
age. So she's like got to be at least almost 30.
So like
And
everything costs more money. But what terrifies me most is like you and I grew up on some decent original films with original filmmakers. If I
yeah,
want film to continue to be alive, like Gen Alpha's understanding of popular cinema has got to be just nothing right now. They have nothing but art, but millennials, recycled nostalgia. You know what? A way to save cinema is to fire every fucking millennial. To be
so
perfectly
true.
honest with you, like we are terrible at this. All we do is repackage our own childhoods because we want to experience them again. That's all the fuck we do.
This is why, like, straight up, I will always cape for something that's like really stupid or even like poorly conceived, or even like just like only kind of good, if it's like actually like genuinely done by someone who's actually like giving a fuck, and
Hmm.
like we're just like someone gave a shot on funding them. Like I fucking love Lucky McKee. I love that shit, and not just May. I mean like shit like The Woods.
Right.
Like it's just cheap like stuff designed to be like straight to DVD
Yeah.
horror section, and I fucking love it. It's beautiful, and
If you got
I
like
feel like
30 grand, like you can make Reservoir Dogs at 30 grand. Just
that's what
get
I'm
out there
saying.
and fucking do it.
The first time, I still remember that the first time I was ever like, this guy is the director. Like this was like when I watched a movie for the first time, like thinking like, oh, this is directed by a person who had ideas and wanted to do, you know what I mean? Like that's the first time I conceived of this as like a 12-year-old or 13-year-old, was The Sixth Sense, which was
Mm.
literally a kid that just came out of film school, had a script he wrote himself, and they took a shot on him, and he, you know, went to the
Yeah.
Academy Awards, and
But
like
at
that.
least you grew up with that. Like Gen
And
Alpha,
that's
they
what I'm
don't
saying,
have
is like I
anything.
grew up with that. Like that came out when I was pretty young, but like still like recent enough that I knew to watch it while I was a kid. And that's just like, I feel like those kinds of things aren't happening right now.
And this isn't coming from a boomer place of like legacy. Can you imagine
Yeah.
being Gen Alpha watching a Russo brothers film and going, "This was directed by someone"?
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean, cuz it's like what I this is why I literally think the closest like they're going to get or is like stuff they're going to see on like Hulu streaming,
Yeah,
or like Netflix or Paramount streaming. Like that's the shit where they're actually getting these like for hire guys to just take jobs. And whereas everything in like film industry proper, there's like a vetting process that's very like high bar for them, you know. You're more likely to see a new like, yeah, like you said, Russo brothers movie over like something else and stuff like that. I don't know, does that make sense? Like it
oh,
just feels
that
like
makes sense.
I want them to have like interesting people to pull from, and maybe that's not always like guys who are good, even just like guys that are interesting, that like you can at least like be like, I'm interested in what they're trying to do. And I feel like I don't have that reaction a lot anymore.
I feel really troubling that I live in a society where Eggers might be the last celebrity director.
Yeah, kind of is, we're getting there. And I mean, like, the intermingling of these worlds are more, like Scorsese is hyping up Ari Aster, and
Yeah.
that's
And
like
don't
kind of,
take this as some kind of like millennial criticism from a millennial perspective. I think millennials fucking suck, overwhelmingly
no, we
suck. But
do.
there's a massive amount of talent in Gen Z.
Oh no, absolutely.
And I don't know if it's not ability. I don't know what it is. Uh, Gen Z need to get behind the camera in a bigger way. I don't know. Gen Z could do it. I don't know about Gen Alpha. I don't hang out with children, but like Gen Z seem like very talented. It's just honestly, the millennials are the ones who I think are killing movies.
I'm
Millennial art has been disgraceful.
Yeah, yeah, no. I'm basically the last millennial,
Yeah.
having been born in '96. I exist between worlds, but yeah, no, I fucking it's depressing. Shit. I literally last week I got to see a film print of Donnie Darko, and I was like, I fucking love this movie. You know, like that's one of those things that I love more
Yeah.
the older I get. It's like the every time I see him, I'm like, this is crazy that this is just like his first time doing this, and he's just like fucking around. He didn't really think it through, and he got to try all this stuff, and it's fun, and it's personal, and it's awesome, and it's like I was like, why don't I see shit? Like, I want a
And
Richard
a beautiful
Kelly
example of like a film finding its audience, even if it's not available
beautifully
to
finding
them.
its audience. Like he had, like they probably thought I've seen interviews where he was like, I tried to explain to them what I was trying to do, and they got so frustrated with me because I was like, yeah, a plane part falls from the sky, and they were like, that would never happen, and everyone was like arguing all the time, and then it's like, no, like there's people that like this makes perfect sense to them, and I work with teenagers, and like I've talked to teenagers who saw that movie, and they were like, it's the only time I've ever seen them excited about a movie, and it's like it's crazy, you know. And I'm like, I want a or Gen Alpha Richard Kelly to show up and
Yes,
save the
same.
day. I want like that. I want that. I want someone to come up with like their fucking Southland tales
Well, speaking
and
to
be
you is
19.
definitely making me realize that millennials are largely at fault. I think every criticism I have of modern art or modern films is a larger criticism of millennial culture.
Oh yeah,
Like,
we're not being like back in my day, because we're talking shit about our like generation of people, you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. It's us
like
who fucked it
people
up.
in their 30s and 40s right now like are to blame.
We are, and then like the homogeny. And hegemony. Like we are evil. Like it's all millennial
Evil.
bullshit. It's all millennial anxieties writ large. It's all millennials.
I mean, I like I said, I've been reading Vineland. Oh no, I was gonna say like in Vineland, the whole bit is like all the people who were like fancied themselves against the grain and like woke, you know, like counterculture, all that back in the day. Now they reveal themselves to all just kind of be reactionaries and part of the,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like the same shit happening over and over again. And you know, Gen X had the decency to all die young. No, I'm kidding, but
Well,
like Lucky
every
McKee
film
is
that
still
people
going,
like
and
want to see is made by a Gen Xer. Every film. I mean, like we got like PTA, Almodovar, all those people still make like, Tarantino. People are still
yeah,
waiting for the last one. It's all Gen X. They were the
and
last
even then,
masters.
every time like a Gen X is a guy is like kind of weird or even out of line or kind of reactionary, there's kind of like this spirit to it where they're like they're like hearts in the right place kind of
Right.
thing.
Right.
You know, like
That's true.
I watch like a Lucky McKee movie, and his idea of feminism is so like, I'm a 35-year-old like cishet white dude. And it's like it's so like I want to prove I'm a feminist. But even then I'm like, oh, but he's so like sincere about it. Like he's so authentic in his like very kind of Gen X feminist drives, and I'm like, I can respect it. I can respect it even when it's goofy. And I feel that way about like Tarantino sometimes, as someone who's like finally kind of becoming nicer to him. Where I'm like, I even when I think he's being kind of reactionary, I respect the grind. Like I respect
Right.
what he's trying to do here. And I feel like instead, like millennial reactionary tendencies really just amount to being literally reactionary.
I think that Soderbergh understood this like better than that might be the key to actually analyzing any Soderbergh movie. I finally figured it out. I think that as you look at his career, it becomes more and more millennial homogenous as it goes
Yeah.
on. It becomes more and more interchangeable or like confusing to keep up with. Oh my god, no,
I mean, I
it's
recently
millennials.
watched Licorice Pizza. Well, I say I watched it. I didn't finish it because I couldn't fucking finish it. And I was like in my head, like comparing that to like Dazed and Confused.
Right.
And I was like, it's like fucking night and day. And I'm like, I don't think that's me being overly nostalgic. One, because I don't actually have a very like intimate relationship to Richard Linklater's work. And two,
Yeah.
like I didn't even really like that movie until I saw it again at 28,
I
29.
I really like that movie.
I used to not like it. Then I saw it in theaters like a year or two ago, and I was like, "Oh shit, I really like this movie!" And I
I
was like
kind of see it
surprised.
in a dialogue with American Graffiti. Like they're kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, and that's what I mean is like look at like American Graffiti. Then Dazed and Confused, then like Licorice Pizza, which
And then
all kind of
Licorice Pizza is fucking no.
it's like all like it's like the fucking packaged in plastic brand version of what like stuff like American Graffiti was doing. I think like it just annoys me, and it's like it's so fake to me. And
Because yeah,
I don't
that's the
know.
problem. Like the millennial understanding of themselves and the world is artificial, and I don't know if that's from being alive from the transition to like tactile human interaction to the internet. But like we have such an artificial way of understanding philosophy, psychology, sexuality, and that comes out in all of our art. So the way to save cinema is to round up every millennial and okay, no, Isabel, no, you're not returning to my channel after 7 months and telling them to go to Alligator Alcatraz. No, just oh no, like we just fire them. I don't know what we do with them. You know what's fun, millennials? You know what's fun? Being associate producers. Just do
Yeah,
that. Do
yeah.
something else, man. I think
I
already we need to pass the gauntlet because we fucked up this lap. Like pass the gauntlet to Gen Z, step back.
Now people will probably like actually me about this and like provide examples to the contrary, but I feel like so much of the vibe I get from like, and this is like a movement I kind of have issues with even now, but like New Hollywood and shit like Coppola, Lucas, all that, those were all guys that came from like pretty like they were just kind of like George Lucas came from like a pretty mundane blue collar background, and he was kind of cultivated to have this like I'm at work doing a job kind of mentality about it, and that's kind of how he became successful at it. Whereas like I feel like there's a lot of millennial filmmakers that have like become like canonized that they were literally just kind of like born into it, you know,
Yes.
like we mentioned PTA, he literally just like had all the connections in the world, and so and when he like I think that I'm not gonna
Like
say like
I love Sofia Coppola, but she fits into precisely what you're saying.
yeah, and like I'm not saying like I don't care necessarily one way or the other on like the question of like whether one goes to like film school or whether that's effective or useful or what. All I know is that like a lot of those new Hollywood guys did,
Yeah.
and they came out of it treating it like a job that they went to a school to learn how to do. And then like a lot of like millennial filmmakers are like the guys that are like I didn't go to film school, I went to films. And then which I always find interesting because it's like if there's any directors who to me like reek of film school, it is millennial filmmakers who said I didn't go to film school. Like every person I went to film school with wanted to be Paul Thomas Anderson, or you know, and it's like he was one of the guys who said you shouldn't go to film school. And so I'm like, there's kind of like a weird thing where it's like, dude, you say that, but like you are extremely film school. You know, it's
Well,
all like, I don't know. I'm coming off like such a
no,
dick
you're
this
not.
video.
But like maybe the way to save cinema is anti-romantic. Like maybe like we have to kind of start teaching
I
it as a
literally wanted
trade.
to
You know,
that
like
is literally I think what I'm getting at. Because I mean like again,
which is
like
to really bring the industry back, but like make
I
sure it has some sort of working class sort of psychology to the production process, because now like, it feels super elitist, a group of super
Mhm.
elite people who don't actually provide good art. But it's like you're saying, we have to bring the industry back, but have a working class mentality, kind of a union of people working for
Yeah.
these. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
no,
simple, but
totally.
like just treat it like a job again, which sounds
There was
anti-romantic, but if it saves
no
cinema, then I don't care.
I think there was like probably few better apprenticeships for becoming a filmmaker than like say working for Roger Corman in like
Mhm.
back in the day. You know, like if you were one of those guys, like you were gonna know how to fucking do your job. Actually there's a number of actors have have like shared anecdotes about how they were like if I hadn't done like TV medical dramas first, I would not have been prepared to actually be like
Yeah.
a professional actor because like that's where they treat it like a fucking job. There's none of that like you get to like, you know, act, you know, Daniel Day-Lewis character acting between scenes on Gangs of New York, you know, or like being in character 24/7. It's just like you got to memorize like 30 pages of lines, you show up, at the same time every day. If you
Yeah.
don't, you're fucking fired. You're liable to get fired at any time, and it's like cutthroat, and you learn your shit. And like I think there's a degree to which like I do kind of long for that for like filmmakers, is like filmmakers to be like put into like the grindhouse of like you are gonna make like 2 slashers a year and you're gonna fucking like it, and you're gonna come out of that experience after a few years knowing your shit and knowing how to handle this shit and in a way that is interesting and provocative. Maybe I don't know, like I'm not saying everyone's going to come out of it successful, but I mean like I feel like there's something to being put in that position of like you just have to like fucking go and like treat it like a job, and you will like come out of it like with something to show for it. And I don't know, I just everyone wants to skyrocket to being Denis Villeneuve right off the bat.
Right. And
you know,
we're talking about saving a medium, an industry that has meant so much to us, and that is obviously in trouble right now. Now's not the time to be romantic about it. Now's not the time to just say give everyone a camera.
Yeah,
now's the time to actually treat it like a trade, to treat it like a real business.
I do want to know your thoughts, because this is something I was actually talking about to other people recently, is that this like current obsession with like, I don't want to say realism, more I'm trying to think of how to describe it, but like the thing where it's like, you know, Tom Cruise is actually tied to the side of a plane, or you know, Guy is actually in a fighter jet on Top Gun Maverick, or you know, that whole like
so
style.
Just Christopher McQuarrie, just his
no,
his
not well,
style.
yeah, but also you know what I mean, like because then we get stuff like even Kaczynski doing like F1. It's like they're actually in the cars, and they try to make it look like they just shoved a camera like in this thing while it's actually really happening, rather than like where it's like I feel like, I mean, like your whole passion is like the 90s, which was a period of entirely like heightened reality.
Yeah,
you know, like I rewatched for the first time in like a decade recently Speed with Keanu,
which is great, which is perfect.
and like that movie is the most like unreal thing. Like it's fucking cartoonish.
Yeah, I don't think that buses and cars and jets need the method act.
Yeah, exactly. And there's this the joy of it is watching like a bus impossibly like traverse this gap because it's apparently going fast enough.
Yeah.
It's ludicrous. And whereas like today it's like if you're in a vehicle based action movie of some kind, they're like striving to make you feel like you're actually in these spaces or actually experience.
Well, the problem there is that like Mission Impossible and what Formula One or whatever, all those movies, they're like super sanitized. So it's like it's supposed to be a really dangerous situation, but it's sanitized. Someone who I think does what you're saying perfectly is like George Miller, right? Like we love Road Warrior, we love Fury Road, we love like those kind of things because it feels more dangerous because the movies are grosser, they're trashier, it's post-apocalyptic. It doesn't matter if Tom Cruise on the side of a jet. I don't think anything will ever happen to him, and also I don't really believe you. Like I don't necessarily believe that all of these things are exactly how you say they were filmed. Why would I?
We know they're not. We know like that, like shit, like they'll advertise the Mission Impossible movies and be like no CG. And it's like that's not true. He had like harnesses on him that you CGI'd out. You had to CGI a lot of the plane. You know, I mean, yeah. The way I really cynically compared it to something was, it's beginning to really feel like I go to a movie theater just to get what I get from going to Disneyland and getting in one of those like big TIE fighters where they have the giant screen in front of you and then the plane moves around to make you feel like you're in a flying spaceship.
Well, there's a big part of me that thinks that the industry is almost entirely given up on women's pictures. We like never like that Blake Lively movie was the last real women's picture that came out.
But no, I agree. It is kind of becoming again a boys' club, and even when a girl's
well, that's why that stunt bullshit. Like, no girl's gonna be impressed by like, oh, you drove a car, cool, man. Like that's to kind of bring an element of machismo danger back to like a movie-going public who they think that they're like they think like, well, we still have men, we still have superheroes, we got to keep them in here. Like, meanwhile, like more than half of your base doesn't care, and I'm too cynical to even believe that you did did half the stuff you claim to. But the biggest problem is that they're all sanitized studio projects. Like, who cares if they were made dangerously? I know they weren't dangerous.
It's all gray. It's all gray. It's all kind of shot in a similar style. I mean, I fucking loved Michael Mann's Ferrari because like the one car crash in that movie, the like CG car crash that I'm sure you've seen, is the most ludicrous looking thing ever, and I was thrilled by that.
I'll always love Michael Mann. If I sound too anti-romantic about how to save cinema, just listen to some of the greats talk about how they made it in the first place. Michael Mann talking about Heat will always be beautiful, because it was like Christopher Nolan was talking to him, and he was like, the shots, how the city just looks so poetic, so effortless, so wonderful. How did you just know how to set the speeds of the camera? And he was like, I was just trying to get the best possible shot.
Yeah.
And like handed it back. Like, he was a guy doing a fucking job who had a really unique vision. That's all. And
literally.
And I think Nolan kind of in that conversation represents like the
opposite. The like I am an artisan filmmaker who, you know, when you see my name on it, you're expecting a certain type of thing. And I say as someone who's like become as I got older complimentary again towards Nolan, but like he's clearly like representative of a trend of like, you know, the high concept Hollywood movie that is, you know, intellectually minded. And it's like, when you get down to it, the average Christopher Nolan movie on every possible level is as ludicrous as like a sci-fi B movie from the 80s. Like, Nolan would be working for Canon in 1985, you know, like, but like Life Force is not that far off from Interstellar.
Yeah, like that's another issue. Like, if we're looking at this as an industry, like an industry should have the lowest the lowest harm, and if they are doing these dangerous things, it's entirely unnecessary to do in the first place. It doesn't make anything more real because it all looks unreal to begin with, and it's a heightened situation.
I think it's just a reaction against like they realized that there was a culture of people online saying like, oh, the CGI is so obvious in this movie, and so it's kind of like this misplaced desire to combat that mentality.
But it's a culture of people who they don't matter, man. Like, the people who complain about CGI do not matter.
It's like such a specific subset of people, you know. It's basically just like Redditors.
And we all know Tom is being de-aged, like, on the computer every time.
I know what he fucking actually looks like. Like, that is. I mean, hell, the most excited I was for like an action movie in the past decade, like after watching it, I mean, was when I fucking saw Gemini Man. Because that shit was absurd. It was shot. I watched the 60 FPS version. Will Smith is supposedly riding a motorcycle on like on a gate, while another Will Smith is riding a different motorcycle and they're shooting at each other. I was like, this is fucking insane, and none of it looks real, and I love it.
Yeah, my favorite Mission Impossible is John Woo's
Me too.
movie.
That's my favorite too. It's
so like, it's obviously not Tom Cruise on the bike. I don't need it to be. I don't fucking need it to be. You gave me amazing action set pieces. You gave me Thandie Newton sexy as hell. I don't need anything else. Like, why do you think I need Tom Cruise to do a backflip on a motorcycle while dual wielding pistols? Why do you think I need it to actually be?
Literally. This is why it's great. This is why it's fucking awesome. I mean, I feel like I'm getting back in touch with like newly released trash though. That's kind of giving me hope.
But the best trash is studio trash. Like,
yeah, like I saw Until Dawn recently. That
right? I want to see that. I actually did play the game.
I think you'd like it. I think
I would too. I think that the game is interesting too. Yeah, I think those fucking games are interesting as well. Like the concept of like video games aping a film is like so much fun to me.
I mean, I saw Woman in the Yard, which wasn't my favorite, but it was like it's basically just Colette Sarah doing Gin by Toby Hooper. And
I love Colette Sarah.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
what.
him. He did House of Wax, right?
That's why you should
2005.
watch Carry On, which is my favorite movie
Okay, that's who
about
you
like.
said earlier. You said it so fast I didn't catch it. I love House of Wax. I love Orphan. He did
I
both
love
of
House of
those.
Wax. I love House of Wax.
You watched it?
Premier Deftones core.
It's so
Great
good. It is so. That's
new metal
same company.
cinema.
See what I mean? This is new horror. Every movie
Yeah,
that they
and
made.
no, he did Carry On, which is
And we
basically
could
I read.
we can spend 2 hours analyzing Paris Hilton's death in that movie and the audience
Yeah,
reaction and how they marketed the movie as watch this famous blonde woman die.
I described Carry On as being about every American white male's fantasy of stopping a terrorist threat at their workplace, school, or home.
Carry On. Oh wait, I thought you were saying it like a fucking bird, dude.
No, Carry On, like with
Yeah, it has the chick from the Disney Channel original series or movies,
yeah.
Descendants,
That
in it.
movie was like insanely right wing, and I loved it. I mean, to be clear, I am not right. I just like loved how like
Yeah,
fucking
okay, I
insane
love
it was.
Sophia Carson and Jason Bateman's a villain. I remember
It
previously.
was
I thought you were
so.
watching some. I thought you and your film
It's
school ass
literally
was watching some Netflix
no.
original movie about a bird.
That movie literally made me think of like fucking Charles Bronson bullshit because like
That's
the
cool.
it was so thrilling to see like
What?
a truly
Let's say
reactionary
something
movie.
fucking controversial for a second. Conservatives, man, you guys are like pulling a
Come
lot of
back,
strings in the
please.
background. Yeah, you're pulling a lot of strings in the background to control the entertainment industry. Start making a fucking movie, man. Make me
I
Death
say
Wish.
this like as a fucking communist.
Make
Please,
me
I
a
need
perfect
Republicans to
world.
make
Make me
movies
Gran
again.
Torino. Make me something.
Literally, like I was so because okay, Carry On. The whole premise is the hero is a TSA agent
Give me something.
who
Come
wanted
on.
to be a cop because his dad was a cop, but he never passed the test to enter the police academy, so he has to settle for being a TSA agent. And then the whole arc of the movie is by the end they're like, man, this guy has what it takes to be a cop. He stopped a terrorist threat at the airport. And
I'm
I was like, yes, this is so fucking
That's
reactionary.
awesome.
This is so fucking
I'm holding
evil, and
out
I
for
love it.
the great Gen Z conservative auteur. I'm holding out. I know
It's
he's there.
I've lost a lot of love for Eli Roth, but at least he fucking made Knock Knock, which was so fucking evil, and I loved it. And fucking like Hostel,
Green
like
Inferno was so good.
and I don't want to come off like because like I hate the attitude of guys of like when like Tarantino and guys are like, you know, like oh movies used to have you can you know it's all woke now you can't say certain shit. It's like no
But we
that
haven't said that at all.
no, and
And
I
like,
literally like think like no, like that shit. I think movies are more right wing than
but,
ever, and
but the
like deeply
problem,
conservative. They're just not insane.
I
They're
think I'll say something that like I think that if anybody is conservative is watching me right now, like the problem with like what makes an ideology woke is like some sort of insincerity attached to the expression of that belief, which millennials are the most artificial people ever. I think that it's
yeah,
us. I think it's
yeah.
us who are poisoning the well of like very good left wing ideas by being completely insincere about them and tone deaf most of
Basically,
the time.
it's a generation of conservatives who really don't want you to know they're conservatives. And it's like, dude, it would
I don't
be
know about that.
so much more fun if you literally just made a movie that was like, we should bomb like poor people, like just be honest about the fact that you're a reactionary, because otherwise it's just like nothing movies about nothing because you're conservative. So you're not making anything truly like challenging or radical, but you're not being honest about being fucking conservative. So your movies lack any sort of like shock factor that would make them at least fun to watch.
Yeah,
Very,
that's what makes it kind of the ideology insincere is how
yeah.
self-obsessed it is. But that's not a
I'm
fault of
trying to
the
think of like
ideology. It's a
other
fault of the
millennial
millennial who is
filmmakers.
saying it.
I'm trying to think of
Um,
millennial filmmakers we haven't named.
wouldn't you say like Ari Aster,
Oh, absolutely. I
Ty
think like
West?
oh my god. See, like all of these guys are just so profoundly self-conscious
Yes,
of
and
how
even
they're
Eggers is
perceived.
too, but he has talent. I think he's fine. But Ari
I'm like
Aster,
on and
fuck
off with him,
no.
but like I get it. I get
But,
it.
but compared to Aster and
That's
Ty
it. Yeah,
West,
that's why I'm like I get it. I get it.
um, Sean Baker probably.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. And like there's so many ways he kind of infuriates me despite making one movie that I really enjoyed. because I really like Tangerine. Although even then, I like it because of the ways like they kind of changed it against his original plan. Because it was originally going to be like a misery porn type thing, and the actresses playing the leads talked him out of doing that. And improved a bunch of shit, and that's why it's funny. Luca Guadagnino. No, wait, he's older. He's not millennial. He's too old for that.
But he's most famous for making films that millennials like, but that's harder. But let's look at the Screen Rant list really quick. 15. Greta Gerwig, obviously. Why didn't we
Oh
say
my
her?
god, I have so many hostile opinions about Greta Gerwig.
Celine Song, Past Lives.
I haven't seen any Celine Song. I never cared enough, to be honest.
Hiro Murai.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see it.
Bo Burnham.
Fucking kill yourself out.
Yeah, these are the millennial directors.
Oh, I bet Ryan Coogler will be on here.
Michael B. Jordan. I know he was a director.
Close, because like he worked with Ryan Coogler a bunch, and then he was kind of like a mentor figure for him.
Okay. What is it? Well, I was gonna say like I'm not. I would definitely think that the Asian world is making better films than we are. Olivia Wilde. Yeah, I forgot.
Oh yeah, Cure by Kiyoshi is like my fucking favorite shit ever.
Yeah. So like,
or not Cure. Sorry, I mean it is. That's like one of my favorite movies. But I meant
so
like
if
Cloud.
I need to get more specific, I am specifically talking about American and like Canadian cinema.
Yeah.
I'm not really talking about.
I don't think we
else.
need to remind anyone that we're on.
Lena Dunham. Okay, this list is getting really bad though. Lulu Wong. Ryan Coogler is here. Emerald Fennell. I like Promising Young Woman, but it's full of everything that we just criticized, though. Like, it's not helping.
And that's kind of why I don't like her. Yeah. I will say, like, Ryan Coogler's Marvel movies are, like, fucking unwatchable. They're fucking unwatchable.
Mm-hmm.
I really do like Creed 1. Like, in a, like, not in a, like, it's, like, a masterpiece kind of way, but in a, like, this is, like, an actual movie that feels like it would have come out in the 80s and, like, is just kind of, like, a pure, like, experience sport movie that I'm like, I feel like it doesn't really happen anymore, and I was like thrilled by it. Do
you agree that Stallone is an underrated filmmaker? I think he is.
I feel like I haven't seen enough to say.
You've seen all the Rockies. He directed every one.
No, I haven't seen any Rockies except the first.
Then shut up about Creed. Then shut your mouth about
Creed. And Creed. I've seen Creed, half of Creed 3, and because I was watching it at work when I worked at a summer camp. I saw half. I saw the first 2 hours of Babylon and then ended up never finishing it.
More than Emerald Fennell, Damien Chazelle is like such a fucking millennial. I fucking hate him.
Oh, Ari Aster. And I like First Man, but he is fucking.
Oh, why? Because they did Everything Everywhere All at Once. These guys get to be here.
Okay, my funny anecdote about the Daniels.
The Safdies get number one. Okay.
Oh, guaranteed. The Daniels. How a friend of mine wrote a negative review, like a 1-star, half-star review of Everything Everywhere All at Once, and said this is like Rick and Morty for New York Times readers. And then Letterboxd did a video with the Daniels where they had them read reviews of their work, and they found that one, and they literally said, yeah, that's kind of what we were going for, which is, I think, the most millennial thing I've ever heard. That, like, no, I actively wanted to make Rick and Morty for New York Times readers. And I was like, that is the most millennial thing I've ever heard in my life. And it's like, that is literally what it's like. Like, it's just.
No, millennial filmmakers, we just looked at that list. I'm sure the Asian ones are fine, but like us Americans, we are not doing it. We are not doing it up.
Like I on and off like the Safdies, or at least fucking Uncut Gems and Good Time. They're kind of just like trying.
I feel like they're tryhards. Their films are so fucking tryhard to me. I can't get into.
Yeah, and that's kind of my problem. And then like fucking Greta Gerwig, I think is like I've described her as a conservative who wants you so badly to not think she's a conservative.
I thought that Bo Burnham's 8th Grade was a really good debut. I thought Inside was the most self-obsessed thing I've ever seen. So
I haven't seen 8th Grade only because I have like a vicious opposition to like 2000s and upcoming of age movies not called Donnie Darko.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I
But
can.
what I was impressed by with 8th grade is that it was like the least self-centered debut, because like there's none of Bo's personal stuff in there. I feel
In
like it's
there,
like legitimately, genuinely a film about teenagers and what, like
which I can respect.
2016. I have no idea when that
I
movie came
mean,
out.
I don't think I said this on the stream or the recording before we started, but like I'm watching Riverdale right now, so like I get it. Like I see the
Yeah.
vision. Although I think teen narratives are more appropriate for TV. Like TV, I feel
TV is so much better because you see the
it's
coming of age
designed for
process.
that content. It's designed for that content.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think like high school really translates well to like movies. Not all the time, obviously. There's
Translates
examples
better than college does. So
yeah, college makes no fucking sense. Did you see Miller's Girl? Now that was fucking.
no.
I did. I don't know why, but I did. There's literally it's. Do you know what it is? It's basically Martin Freeman plays
Oh.
a teacher at a private high school, an English teacher, and what's her fucking name? She's hot shit right now. She was in X. Not
Jenna
Mia.
Ortega.
Jenna Ortega is a high schooler who's like very studious and well read, and she's trying to get into like Yale or something. And she basically wants something interesting to write about for her letter. But she has no interesting life stories to express or like triumphs and failures. So she decides to seduce her teacher so that she will have the content from which to write a letter about how interesting her life is and her journey. And she seduces him by like reading like books. And there's literally a part where Martin Freeman's like talking to his wife, and he's like, "It's insane. She reads Finnegan's Wake and Naked Lunch." And I was like,
who is that film for?
that's what I want to know. I want like, who is this movie for? Why did Burroughs come second? Why is this a thing? I could not figure out who this movie was for.
I hate the state.
It's not for horny people because
like,
nothing ever happens.
I can't tell if Jenna Ortega is valuable or not on screen. I can't tell. I feel like she has something, but she's never been in a good movie from what I can fucking tell.
Yeah, I mean, people make jokes all the time about her whole shtick is that she talks about wanting to be in serious, intelligent, thoughtful art, but then she only takes like the most like fucking deadbeat roles in trash movies.
There's not a whole lot of great roles to choose from.
And that's the problem. It's like, what is she really?
She has the face and the presence of someone who just needs like a director to be obsessed with her. Like, you're my muse. Let me make 5 movies just about you walking around like that. We don't have that anymore.
She needs to get like a you know, like a Denzel and Tony Scott type thing going, where it's like she just has this guy who like makes a certain type of movie that she respects, and she just like every year or two he calls her up and he's like, I got something going, do you want in? And she's like, fuck.
That's why it's difficult for me to write her off, because she has like something within an image, within a moving image, but she needs we need real fucking directors and we just don't have them. But she needs someone to be obsessed with her. She needs someone.
We keep thinking,
and it's crazy that she hasn't found that. It's fucking crazy.
Every time like everyone becomes convinced we found one of those directors, that director immediately proceeds to like sell out. You know, sorry, I'm still just thinking about Greta Gerwig because she pisses me off.
Well, I've never seen a good movie from her either. I really didn't like Lady Bird. I had a lot of issues with it.
I do not like it, and it's also kind of like the master text that's like, the problems with Lady Bird is the problem with every movie she made, regardless of like budget scale. You know, like you watch Barbie, she's still doing the same shit she was doing with Lady Bird.
Fucking Narnia to go back to the very beginning of this conversation.
Same shit. I guarantee Narnia is going to be another movie about like a basically evil mother who we're told to appreciate just because she's a mother and she's trying her best, and like, you know, it's gonna be like some like feel good shit by the end. And actually, the most suspicious thing, I didn't realize this till the second time I saw Barbie, and I only saw it because I was at someone's house and they put it on, and that I never thought of before, which is there's such an effort in the first half of that movie to be like, no guys, like we're woke, and you know, like talking about like feminism and shit. There's a part though where the daughter of whoever the other lead in the movie was, the daughter in that movie is like a radical, like a punk kid who like wears all black, and she's like, Barbie's the system, you know, like you know, you're not woke. And like, but then there's a part where Barbie shows them Barbie world, where like women are president, women are doctors, women do everything, and she's like, you do, or so women do everything in your world that men do in ours? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, wow, that's so cool. And that was instantly the scariest thing I ever heard in my life, is the idea that like an ideal world is one in which just everything that men are currently doing is taken over by women. And I'm like, that is hell. I do not want more women, you know, doing evil
What?
shit.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna end it. I don't want more women. You know.
No. I mean, like, because like the implication is just like, you know, if only women were doing these jobs, they would be done ethically and well. And it's like, I don't think that's true. I think just like you know, how
They'd
do
be
you
done more ethically, more well.
how do you ethically like stoke wars in other countries, etc.? You know what I mean? Like
You
it
be
just, or like
pretty about it.
wokely run Amazon.com, you know, like I
Look,
just don't, it's like I'm too cynical for that. I'm too lefty for that. And it just kind
I'm
of
not.
pisses me off.
I'm not. I was like, if I was being executed, I wanted to be done by a pretty lady.
I mean, like, same, like,
Yeah. So like
you
Barbie's
know,
right.
I mean, like, yeah, like if a woman wanted to execute me, I'd be like, shit, man,
Yeah, like you're not
let's
even on
go.
trial. She
Yeah.
just brings it to your attention.
I'd be like Marlene Dietrich and you know, like
Well,
waiting for
there's
her
like
execution
Marlene
and just doing her
Dietrich. Where would
makeup.
she'd be huge? But she needed Sternberg for a couple films. Like she needed someone obsessed with her.
If Marlene Dietrich was alive in an American film today, she would be in Emerald Fennell movies about how watching gay men is kind of creepy, but also kind of cool.
Was that
Um,
Jacob Elordi one?
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
one of my friends described that as like a movie about gay men for straight women.
Which is such a fucking millennial thing to do.
It is, and it's like, oh my god. I feel like I'm coming off more reactionary by the end of this video, but it's
Yeah,
just,
but at least we're saying it's us. It's our generation that is at fault here. Like,
it really just comes down to like I'm bored. Is
yes,
like
yes.
what, that's really the simplest way to explain all of it, is like I'm fucking bored watching movies that are coming out right now, and I just don't want to go see new ones anymore because I'm just fucking bored. It's like it just feels like I'm not getting stimulated in any
But
way.
but
Whereas
to
like I
add,
spent the summer watching Anthony Mann movies and I had the time of my fucking life. And then I was like, so what's going on at the movies? I was like fucking bored again. It's
yeah.
just like,
But let's add that optimism that we hit on earlier.
you're like, we got to salvage. No, I
Well,
mean, I
that's the
definitely
point of
think,
this video. It's called Zack and Isabel Save Cinema. And I think for it to be saved is like you kind of bring up Gen Z and Gen Alpha, you teach them the trade, you give them the tools, and let them just take over entirely. Honestly, millennials have fucked it up. But I
I
think that
don't,
Gen Z have the talent, the vision, and the right attitude when it comes to most things, to be honest.
I don't know if this is just like wishful thinking on my part, but I really feel like like the state of things as they are is like unsustainable and not going to last even much longer. Like it's like, how long can
But
this be?
thing is, I've felt that way for like 5 years and
I
hasn't
guess, but it's just like,
happened
how
yet.
much longer can like every blockbuster that comes out star just Timothy Chalamet? You know, like how
Yeah.
long can like they all look like a Denis Villeneuve movie or so whatever? Or, you know, it's just like I don't know if that's sustainable. And like I don't know, like people had like similar things in the past. You know, everyone thought that like fucking cheap trashy slasher movies were never going to go away, and they eventually fucking went
Yeah.
away. Everyone
But
thought Marvel was never going to go away, and it's on life support right now. Yeah, it's, I don't know, it's like I don't see this being like the way that, like, but only to the extent that I feel like there's going to be like some other, you know, thing that's going to become popular in all of its
But I
ways.
can't even, for the life of me, guess what that will be.
I want it to be like just like fucking.
People think it'll be like video game or anime adaptations.
I could see that. I just want like genre movies to be like.
Yeah. Well, I brought up like the death of the rom com. I want to see rom coms
That's
in
what
theaters.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, uh,
like I want my
like
Pretty Woman. Like I want
bring
Pretty Woman
Cameron
there.
Crowe back. Let him make movies again.
Exactly. I
I watched
love
We
Cameron
Bought a
Crowe.
Zoo recently, and it was like
It's good.
it's good, and also it's like there's like some crazy shit in it, and it's like it's a fucking crowd pleasing
He's
like
the
hallmarky.
Cameron Crowe. I
Happy
love
movie.
him. You know, I love him. But like, he's like the rational response to James Cameron and Steven Spielberg. Like, I can get you the same money for literally half the price.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you a story about a sports agent who falls in love with a blonde and her kid. I'm just telling you about Say Anything or Almost Famous. I can tell you stuff without.
yeah.
And it's
I
about
mean, Vanilla
love, and
Sky is
then the
the same.
audience sees Cameron Crowe's feelings of love or sentimentality, and then that's what they'll express out to people. People are still holding up boom boxes, like knowing what that means. Like everyone knows what that reference
Yeah,
is, and it was a statement of love. Like if we are mimicking anything from films made
yeah.
today, it's so artificial. So like yeah, Cameron Crowe he's supposed to come back. Actually, it's really exciting. He's
I mentioned
writing.
Richard Kelly earlier. He's also supposedly
Well,
going to come back
Cameron
soon.
Crowe, though, he's making a Joni Mitchell biopic, and he wrote the script with Joni, and I can't wait for that. That should be exciting. Uh, if you liked Almost Famous, you're almost guaranteed to like his Joni Mitchell film. But yeah,
Yeah,
but Richard Kelly. If we're talking about inexpensive movies, we can't talk about Richard Kelly because he's ruined his career with Southland Tales,
yeah.
which
Well, I
was
watched The
very
Box
expensive.
recently. Yeah. I mean, shit. I think I've talked about this on here before, but I was so ready for John McTiernan to come back, and he was getting ready to shoot like some fucking action movie set in space, and it was going to be probably wonderful. And then COVID happened, and he lost all his funding, and he's been struggling to get it back since then. And so he literally can't make anything. And I'm like, bro, imagine if like Rollerball came out today, like the 2000s one. Like imagine that movie coming out today. That'd be fucking
Well,
sick.
McTiernan is another one that
Thomas
strikes
Crown
me
Affair.
as
Remember when movies fucked?
yeah, like
That's
McTiernan's
what,
another tradesman. Like we need to kind of treat this as a trade, but we need to end this video here soon.
we
Any
do.
closing thoughts?
I don't know. I'm like I'm feeling like I probably come off more old man yells at cloud than I ever have before.
No, at least we're old men or whatever yelling at other.
You had to commit. You had to just commit. You the only way forward was to not acknowledge it and keep going.
Whatever. We're yelling at.
Don't care.
You're yelling at our the people around us our exact age. We're yelling at people our exact age.
I want a movie like I Know What You Did Last Summer to come out now. And not like
they
the new
remade
one
it.
that's like a legacy movie. I want some guy to be like, I'm gonna release a movie about a guy with an evil hook arm.
Yes.
And he's fucking
Candyman. Give me
man.
something. Give me anything.
It's like I don't know. I just like really feel like personality comes through in those realms of movies. Like they really does. Like something personal and interesting comes through when you just like let people like we don't have like straight to DVD movies anymore, obviously, because no one buys DVDs anymore. But
Yeah.
like and straight to streaming is becoming like a game of like stats and numbers and like how can you know play the algorithm to your benefit of like what people are watching on Netflix. And so it's like I don't know if there's a market right now for just like letting people like fuck around and make stupid shit, but I'd love to see that. I want to see like I want to see the Zoomer Lucky McKee.
But the only way you get to that place where you can make silly, stupid shit or personal stuff is to prove that you're competent enough to make a few films that inspire some people.
And that's why I want to go back to like people are like you're directing this movie because you're contracted out to us and we're saying you're making this movie. You
brought up
know, hey,
McTiernan, like he made Die Hard. Like
hey,
that
we're
wasn't a
making
passion project. He changed an entire genre.
I want you to go into work on Monday and your boss throws a script on your desk that says True Grit 2 and they're like get to work, bro, like get in there. And like you just have to do it. And like, you know, some stupid shit like that. I want that. It's just it'd be fun to see because I'm realizing truthfully, like the movies from this year and last year that I enjoyed the most were movies in that tier, like lower budget, either action movies, thrillers, or horror movies, and that aren't like one of the big things going on in their given year. And I'm enjoying. I mean, like shit, man. I'm not even gonna lie. I even like appreciated the monkey by Oz Perkins. And I'm like, I'm not sure how much I buy Oz Perkins, but there's something like he is so
I
like
love
adult.
Blackcoat's Daughter. It was
I saw that
phenomenal.
years ago and I don't really remember, but I saw
I'm an Emma Roberts stan. I will love anything
the
that I
what
see
was the
her.
one he made with Nick Cage? Long Legs. I saw
Yeah,
Long
Long
Legs, I saw
Legs.
the monkey, and it's like he's kind of playing into like things going on right now in horror, but at least like he feels like a guy who's born to make movies that go play on Adult Swim.
Yes.
And I take that over a lot of the competition. So even though the monkey's kind of stupid, I also kind of loved it. I was thrilled that
Absolutely. Look, I
anyone.
think we talked about interesting things in this video. Thank you
Yes.
for being on it with me, Isabel.